Hi, welcome to the Place Your Trades Network. I'm Penny and this is PAX. Today we will be talking about the CPI numbers. Today's podcast is brought to you by Trade which has built a custom app dedicated to trading event contracts. This is what we're all using at Place Your Trades. Use the link in the chat to start using the Trade app for free, where you can follow along and make your own picks. And make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and set notifications so you never miss our podcast. Hi, Pax.
Hello, Penny Lane, Blaine, my golden-haired sister. Yesterday, Blaine called me, and every morning before the market opens, I listen to music. That's like the part of my morning routine that I do is I listen to music while I'm getting my plane out, that kind of thing. And I pay attention to the songs that pop up. The song from America, Sister Golden Hair, came on at the exact time that Penny called me to talk about the markets. I thought, holy shit, that's so funny. Sister Golden Hair. Now, she's too young to even know that song. It's from the 70s. But anyway, good morning, sister. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing so much better.
Good. It's been a tough week, hasn't it?
It really has. It really has.
I felt bad.
You actually are now in a very, very small group of people. The other two people in that group are my great friend, Jason Spadafora, the Wolf of Weed Street, and of course, my friend Shark. And now you are the only three people in the trading world who have received a crying phone call from me about how badly I traded. I really reserve those for just my innermost circle. So you're welcome.
Seriously, that means a lot, because it means you trust me, and that means a lot. Hopefully over the course of our friendship, and as it continues to develop, I've earned your trust. And if I've earned your trust, then I'll work hard to maintain that. If you can trust me, and that you continue to learn how to trust yourself as a trader, those bad days that you've had these last couple weeks after kind of building some positive momentum, they become less and less severe, and they become more and more stretched out. So that they'll happen. We're all traders, and they're going to happen. By the way, I've cried too. People would say that there's no crying in trading, and I don't know too many other traders that never ran into the bathroom stall on the trading floor and just bawled their eyes out. I can't. First, I lost $1.5 million of my own money that I never even dreamed that I would have on January 3rd, 2001. Many of you guys know that story. I've told it a few times. But 2 years prior to that, when I first started trading and I started to make money, I didn't think I'd ever have that kind of money. I lost that in 30 seconds. The NASDAQ, believe it or not, you can go back and look at the chart. It's the biggest rally in NASDAQ history. We rallied 26% in like a minute, 2 minutes. It was just a straight up rally off of a surprise Fed rate cut on the very first trading day of the year after the tech bubble burst on a very low liquidity day. I lost $1.5 million of my own money that day. And I went to the bathroom. I threw up. I went down to the Merc Club and I smoked then. I smoked the cigarette down with the ash still hanging off. And I got those emotions out, and I came back to work the next day. I was, believe it or not, my firm, I can say this maybe 20 years later, my firm, which I owned a piece of at that time, let me trade debit $600,000 for 2 days. But the only thing was I couldn't trade more than 5 contracts. So trading, but think about that for a second. That's a 20 lot in the S&P or in the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ was $100 a tick then. So 20 minis is 5 big NASDAQ. I couldn't trade more than 5, but I did. I traded 5, and I lived up to my end of the bargain. I didn't lose any money, and the deal was if I lost money, I would stop trading. I couldn't make my debit worse. It only took me 2 days to clear it up. But the point of that story, me sharing that, is that when we suffer a big loss, whether it's 2,000 or $1.5 million or 20, whatever it is, it's all relative. But when we suffer a big loss and we feel like we've taken a step backwards, oftentimes those losses are not step backwards. Those, as you and I have talked about, those losses are oftentimes huge steps forward. So while they might seem like setbacks, they're really not. Oftentimes those big losses that we suffer are gigantic step forward, and that's what we have to recognize in our journey in growing in not just knowledge, and growing in experience, but growing in trust, learning how to trust ourselves, learning how to trust our processes, our trading methodologies, learning how to trust that we are not learning also too that we have nothing to fear from the market. You're going to have, sister, you're going to have an incredibly long and profitable career if what happened this week is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. If that loss is the worst that's going to happen, and it is, that's the worst it's going to be, you're going to have a very long and very, very profitable and successful career. And that's the bottom line, because you move forward from it. You're not, I loved what you did yesterday. I loved it. You're not trying to make back that money. You're not trying to dig yourself out of. I talked to a trader yesterday who had lost a lot of money before I had met him. The old adage of how do you make a small fortune trading futures? Start with a big one. Trader started with a big one, and he ended up making a small fortune. But one of the things that we are working on, and this is what you did yesterday, was this trader is trying to dig himself out of that hole. There's no hole to dig yourself out of. Whatever is lost by definition. The past, it's gone. Now it's time to move on to creating new wealth. So there's no hole to dig out of. You just roll out of the hole and you continue to move on down the path, down the road, man. And hopefully God will continue to illuminate your path, and you will learn how to trust yourself and continue to move forward. And you will continue to create money. You'll create wealth. That's what we're doing. Each price change on the screens behind me, each tick, each price change represents an opportunity. These markets move in 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Even when they're closed, capital is flowing in and out of the markets. It's just not reflected until the markets are open again. Every price change is literally an opportunity. Is it an opportunity I want to take advantage of? No, not necessarily. I have a process, a framework that I put around the market that I'm going to use to determine what opportunities I want to take advantage of. And how do I want to move past the mistakes that I've made? How do I want to create, how do I want to avoid those mistakes in the past? That's another thing we talked about too, is we don't need to, I think in Western culture, we're taught that we need to kind of pull our big boy and our big girl pants up, and we need to overcome our obstacles. As traders, I don't think we necessarily need to overcome them as much as we just need to identify them, be honest with ourselves, and know what our obstacles are, what our weaknesses are. My weaknesses are doing push-ups. They're in the background doing push-ups and getting stronger when I take my eye off them, because I think I'm a great trader. Oh, I've gone on a roll and I'm really feeling good about myself and I've made a lot of money. That's a dangerous area for me, because at that point, again, my weaknesses are in the background, getting stronger, doing push-ups, waiting for me to turn my head over here to draw my guard, and I'm going to get smacked on the chin by my weaknesses. I know what they are. They'll continue to reveal themselves to me as I move forward. All I was taught. Stop.
I have am I? No. I want to say something about that. I have a lot of people who follow me on Twitter, and any time that I say on Twitter that I am emotional about a loss, you get some kind of a-hole coming out of nowhere every single time who says to me, "You're too emotional to be a trader." What a crappy thing to say to somebody. And my son is 8 years old, and he's in a hitting slump right now in baseball. And we're working our way through the hitting slump. He's a fantastic baseball player, but he's in his own mind, and he just can't kind of get through the hitting slump. So something that I've told him that helps me so much is, instead of, when something really hurts, instead of saying, like, in your body, like, no, I don't want it, and trying not to feel that thing, be it shame, embarrassment, whatever it is, trying to like do whatever you can to push that away. I really like to tell him to just take a deep breath and feel those things. Just let it come in. And I always say it's not going to hurt quite as badly as you think it's going to hurt. So just feel your feelings. And then after you fully felt them, say to yourself, I have to let that go. And just, you felt it, it has impacted you, and then it is no longer yours, right? It is, you have to let it go. And it's been a very interesting thing. I've used that a lot in my life, but it's been a very interesting thing to watch an 8-year-old go through that. And every time he strikes out, I run over to the dugout and I'm like, hey, bud, you got to feel it and you got to let it go. It's a new, next time you're up to bat, it's a new opportunity. And
Yes.
it's, for kids, you just want to make everything right for them. Like I'd do anything in the world to get him out of this slump because it's hurting him.
Oh.
But it's every person, trading, life, whatever it is, you're on your own path. You can't make things better for other people no matter how much you want to.
I love baseball. And
It's the
and
best.
baseball, it is. I love it. My son still plays. My son is a 17-year-old high school. He's still playing. Hopefully he plays in college too. But the whole thing about baseball is that I believe there's a lot of metaphors and analogies to draw between baseball and trading. If a person strikes out seven times out of 10, if a baseball player strikes out 7 times out of 10, and he only succeeds, he gets on base 3 times out of 10. They call that person a Hall of Famer. That person will be a multi-millionaire, and that's failing 7 times out of 10 at bats. Same thing with traders. I take a trade and I can't tell you how many scratch stops I take or how many times I get stopped out, either for a short expense or a scratch. I try to take scratches once the market protects me, as we've talked about many times before in here. But it's the same basic thing. I'm going to get stopped out of a trade. Jedi Marcus and I had breakfast in the beginning of my Twitter experience and all of this when I started tweeting. And he was flabbergasted at the fact that I will put on the same trade within a split second after getting stopped out for very different reasons. I'll buy yesterday, for example, getting long at 39.12 in the S&P. The market goes 13 bid, 14 bid, 15 bid, pay for the trade. The market comes back down to 12, take a scratch stop, put it right back on, it goes 12 bid again. I'm going to get stopped out to protect myself, and I'm going to put that trade right back on. And that trade is a separate trade, just like your son's at bat. That's a separate at bat. You've got to feel the emotions, identify them, know that they're there, and then move on past them. And that's the same thing that we have to do as traders. Using real-time information, I have to make real-time decisions. I don't look at charts during the day. Many people are amazed at this, or they don't believe me. I do not look at charts during the day. I never make a trading decision, and I mean probably never. I never make a trading decision based off of a chart during the trading day. On the trading floor, I traded 10,000 NASDAQ contracts in a day from my own account, and I didn't have benefits of charts. So I learned how to write my plan out, and I knew what prices I was going to trade at before I got there. I had a process that I can concentrate on so that I wasn't going to focus on each trade and what each trade made me feel like. That's something I've taught my son who's a pitcher. Somebody hits a home run, or you walk a guy, you get 2 guys on and the guy hits a home run. You don't think about the outcome of that last pitch. You immediately start thinking about your process that you have in between pitches. Grab your hat, scratch your, ass, turn around and adjust your cup and fix your collar, your glove, your hit, you go through all of these little routines and rituals so that they help you focus on what your job is and not the outcome of that last job or the outcome of the next one. Process over everything, always. So I know before the market opens, I know what prices I'm going to trade before we go. For example, we're trading, where are we at now? We're at 39.74. I don't know if we've talked about these prices before the last couple of weeks. But above 37.26, we have 38. All these prices we've talked about every week in the S&P. Above 37.26, we go to 38.71. That's the next swing trade. Then we have another swing target very close to it, which is 39.12. Above 39.12, which is a huge number for me, I'm long up to 39.74, and then I add about 39.74 to 40.05. So 39.12 to 40 to 39.12 to 39.74 to 40.05. So right now we've got 39.74 as the price that is kind of the market is churning before it decides which direction to head, back down to 39.12, in which case I'll buy more, or back up to 40.05, above 40.05 to 40.99. So remember these prices, everybody: 39.12, 39.75, 40.05, up to 40.99. The next swing target in the S&P is a lot higher, 41.87, for that whole 41.80 area. So above here, that's where we go with stops and starts along the way: 40.05, 40.99. So and then there's one more point that I want to make about process. You know, I don't look at charts during the day. I've got a process. I stick to it. I know what the strengths and the weaknesses are of myself. I know what my strengths and weaknesses are, and I know the strengths and the weaknesses of my process. And I live within my process so that I know when the most important part of trading is not about how many trades you catch. I've seen traders all week long overtrade all week long. So when the market actually does get to be a good trade like yesterday, they're not able to take advantage of it because they've overtraded in really crappy markets. So if I get stopped out 4 times, I'm done trading. The market is telling me clearly that we're not going anyplace. It's part of my process. I need to protect myself in that process. So when I get a day like yesterday, I'm there to truly take advantage of it, because the most important part of trading is not about how many trades you catch or how many wiggles you catch. Traders blow themselves up trying to catch every wiggle. It's about how you manage the ones that you do catch, how you increase your size, decrease your size, or not trade at all. And that's yesterday in my group mentoring session with my traders. That's what we discussed. That's what we talked about. Was Wednesday. Was that an opportunity to increase our size, decrease our size, or not trade? Wednesday was an opportunity in the S&P to decrease our size and to take that short if you were able to catch it. And if you missed it, then to not trade. That's what it was. It was not a day to increase size. Yesterday was a day to increase size. How do I know? Because you buy 39.12s and the market stays bid above it. You're looking for the next target. You're going to take profit at it. You're going to add above that, so on and so forth. And when the market protects you, you have those big days that are going to make your month. You know, and that's what yesterday represented for a lot of traders. And some of them who caught that rally from 37.26 up to 38.71 are making really, really significant money. These targets that I talk about, the market moves from one to the other like ladder rungs. That's it. It's very, very simple. Using the event contracts as the entry into trading and into at least into futures, and learning how the market moves and learning how you relate to making money, you know, spending a little bit of money in the markets and moving forward. Like we had a conversation on your Twitter feed yesterday, which I thought was very good, about betting. You know, bet small. I don't consider trading betting in the least. Trading is a business like any other business. Even using the event contracts, which are more akin to that sort of thing, and going after those, you know, is a little bit more akin to trading. But even event contracts, using them in learning the different, like the Anne-Marie Band straddle concept, you know, using these different concepts to maximize our profitability and minimize what we're going to spend in order to do that, you know. So we're not going to do any straddles because that's just beyond me. And I haven't had time with my father-in-law's death and my big fat Greek funeral that we've experienced the last week and a half. I'm kind of glad that's over. I mean, Greeks know how to bury somebody. It was an amazing event. It truly was. Cousins from all over the world came in, all over the country. It was fun. But anyway, I haven't had time to truly delve into that thing, to the straddles, and I really need to kind of get back into the swing of things. But Capital Preservation Friday is about preserving our mental, spiritual, and emotional capital, like we talked about earlier with your loss, but also building upon the successes that we've had this week. And some of us who have traded well and have had some successes, you protect that money and you grow that money very, 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 very smartly. You don't start to flip things and overtrade trying to catch every wiggle or make up for missed opportunity and those sorts of things. So we can use the event contracts this morning in a way to be able to reserve our capital and to continue to grow it. And that's the beautiful thing about these contracts. So let's take a look at where we are in the S&P.
Let's make some picks.
All right, let's make some picks, my sister. Oh, these are easy. All right.
I think in my account right now. Oh, look, I had a big district. This account has gone all over the place, but I have $335 in here this morning that I would love to use to make some picks.
Okay, we don't fade. I tweet this out every Friday. We don't fade late day Friday moves.
No, we don't.
We have this is a what do you call it? What do you call it? It's a bank holiday. Banks are closed. Bonds are closed. So, you know, the volume could be, we could have a muted session. And if we have a muted session because we're in, I wouldn't say an uptrend yet, but because the market is rallying and it looks like we put in a bottom at least temporarily. If I don't want to get all the bears, emotional and after me on Twitter, but it looks like we put in a bottom. So we're above some very, very important levels for me. So this week, I think we're going to rally going into the end of the day. I would take the yeses at 40 even for sure for $20. I've been bullish these last couple of Fridays, and last Friday actually we broke pretty hard. But if we start, if again, like we talk about, if when the opening range is set in a few minutes, in 10 minutes, 9 minutes, when the opening range is set, and if that market starts to work back below the opening range, and it looks like we're going to open at 39.70, 74 area, which is, again, like I said earlier, a decently important target to me, we should trade back down to 39.12, okay? Now, we could really see 39.12 today. It's don't fade late day Friday weakness, don't fade late day Friday strength. So depending on what the opening range is today, let's trade that. So we'll take the yeses above 40 even. I don't think I want to take any no's yet because I do think that we're going to rally. But pay attention, Penny, to pay attention to the S&P and to the opening range of the S&P is what I mean. Pay attention to the opening range. If we start working below it, then get out of those yeses and maybe take some no's. 39.50 is we're a little bit too close to it. Geez, people are very bullish. They think the no's are 39 quarters. I don't think we're going to go that low. All right, and let's try the NASDAQ.
All right. Ooh, you got to say it, PAX. You got to call it by its real name.
I said that yesterday and kind of chuckled to myself, knowing how you like the snazzy nazi. So snazzy nazi is a different kind of a story here. The NASDAQ has had a difficult time getting above. So a major target for me in the NASDAQ is 11,814. And all of these rallies that we've had the last couple of weeks up to the 39.12 target in the S&P, and we finally closed above it. We're finally working above it. The NASDAQ has not yet reached its upside target of 11,814. It keeps stopping around 11,000. I think the high of it was 11,734. So we kind of keep stopping around that 11,700 area and reversing. I actually think so. We're below it. I think we're going lower. No, I don't think we're going lower. A lot of people think we're going lower, but I think today that we're going to take that price out. We're going to take that level out. We can take the yeses above 11,700 for low-hanging fruit, but those are kind of expensive. I think that we can take the 11,750s, and that'll be a little bit more affordable and give us a little bit more bang for our buck. So we can take those for $20, 11,750. But keep a special eye on. Go back to the strike list too. Keep a special eye on that 11,720, 730 level. 11,000. Yeah. See, we don't have 11,800. I wonder what you can get those 11,800s for. I don't think we're going to close above there. I think the NASDAQ will trade up to it and then see what we're going to do there. Gold. Let's take a look at gold.
Let's do.
Gold has had a major breakout from that 1682 price. 1682 is a price. I bought gold. It bought gold, sold it. I caught gold for a pretty big rally last year from that level. So gold has finally started the rally. I would say that gold has got a lot to get through in the 1770 area. Look, that's actually kind of cheap. But I think gold extends its rally. Where are they trading? 1663. So I would take the yeses above. There's a lot in the 1770 handle, a lot of resistance or a lot of ceiling. I don't like using the word support and resistance. If 90% of traders fail, why do I want to think and act like 90% of traders? I want to think act differently. So I use different terminology. I don't say resistance, but there's a lot of resistance in the 1770 handle between 1770 and 1775. But why not take the yeses above 1780 for just a couple of dollars and see what happens on that trade?
I love that. Love when you get me a real cheap strike. I mean, look at that. 5, I can make $90 on this trade. I mean,
yeah, and it's just a few bucks.
right. Ugh, these event contracts are just, it's so much fun. It's so much fun to be in the market and know I'm exposed less than $300. And yesterday, my balance was about $150 and I made like $200 using that $150. I mean, it's so much fun. And
They are.
yesterday when I was trading, I got to a point where I was finished trading for the day. I really do like to be finished trading before 11 o'clock. That's my personal preference. I like to kind of be done and go on with my day. And I got to stay in the market all day. I got to, live the rally while my account was just sitting with its little gains. It was, I think it's so fun.
They are. So my oldest son is 23 years old. He's a ski bum that lives out in Breckenridge, Colorado. It's nice to have me as a dad, I think, but he's having a great time. He's probably listening to this. He's going to get pissed that I'm embarrassing him, but who cares? I've got him. He's trading the event contracts and he's learning about futures. He's wanted to be a trader. He hasn't wanted to be a trader because he was old enough to remember when we were struggling financially, back around MF Global times. By the way, all this FTXX stuff reminds me very, very much of what I went through with MF Global. But anyway, the point is that because I've got him trading these things and he's enjoying learning about futures this way. He kind of pressured me into making my first football bet. I've never bet football. I've known a lot of bookies in my life, a lot of Italian bookies in Chicago. I've hung around with them. I knew them. But I've never ever bet with him. I've never made a bet. I've never made a football bet until last week when my son and I bet the Bears against Miami, and the Bears ended up covering the spread. They lost the game but covered the spread, so we made a few dollars on that. And that bet was his reward for me giving him my picks in the event contracts. It was kind of fun. It was a fun little story,
Well, PAX, the market is about to open. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, go to place your trades, and you can download the app and start trading these today. Have a great Friday, everybody.
Click the link real quick. Click that link below and download the app, and just start to familiarize yourself with the way that Tradeovate is developing all of this stuff, because it's really cool. It's really important. Tradeovate is really kind of coming up with some cool ways of working these things. And also in my Twitter feed, go to Twitter, my Twitter at PAX Trader 777, PAX Trader 777, and Penny's as well, to drop us a couple of comments on what you thought of today's conversation, and give us some topics that you want us to address next week. What I normally end up kind of talking about is going to be some of the things that Penny and I have talked about during the week, and also what I've talked to the other traders that I mentor during the week, or to the traders in the PAX group that I mentor during the week. And some of those topics that I know that my traders are going through, what I know Penny's going through, I'm sure that other traders out there are going through. But if there are some things that you guys want me to talk about directly, please go to Twitter and leave a couple of comments. And next week not next week, but the week after, we'll talk about them again. Anyway, have a great weekend, my sister.
Happy
Sister Golden
Friday,
Hair.
PAX.
Happy Capital Preservation Friday, Blaine.